Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the virtual public info meeting of state project number 57-121, removal of bridge number 04671, carrying Carroll Road in the town of Griswold, Connecticut. The project email is dot-flbp@ct.gov. And this will be a formal presentation with a live question and answer session following the presentation. If you have any questions, my name is Mark Burns. I'm the project manager for the federal local bridge program and state local bridge program, and my contact information is shown above. The goals for tonight's meeting will be interacting with the project team, explaining the federal local bridge program, design managed by state or DMS program, welcoming remarks by the town of Griswold selectwoman, introductions of the project team, a formal presentation of the design process, which includes explaining the condition of the existing bridge and defining the purpose and need of the project, and recommendation of a viable proposal. Currently, we're only at 30% design plans. Following the presentation, there will be an open forum for all your questions and answers. To reach us, you can send a question or comment by email at dot-flbp@ct.gov or by phone at 860-594-2020 or through the Zoom Q&A through chat. You can also visit the project webpage at http://portal.ct.gov/dot Griswold GRISWOLD 0057-0121. The comment period is open through December 13th, 2022. The Zoom Q&A session will only be available during the live presentation this evening. I have to read this Title VI section on civil rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We encourage you to fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey, which is indicated on the same webpage for the project. You can also reach the following website too for civil rights information. A recording of the formal presentation will be posted to YouTube after the live event. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will also be available at that time. Funding for this project is going to be through the Federal Local Bridge Program, through the Design Managed by State or DMS program. In a traditional federal local bridge project, the funding would be split 80% federal funds and 20% town funds for design, rights-of-way, and construction. In the new DMS program, design, rights-of-way, and construction phases will be funded with 80% federal and 20% state funds. The design is at zero cost to the town. Design will also be a full partnership and coordination with the town. The DMS was started to provide a streamlined approach to the design using full DOT resources and to aid the towns to keep their bridges in a state of good repair by effective use of federal funds. It was also our intention to decrease typical design time from 5 years to roughly 2 to 3 years, and to utilize accelerated bridge construction or ABC techniques to shorten construction duration. It was also our intent to increase the number of municipal projects delivered in each construction year. I'll now have the first selectwoman, Dana Bennett, make some remarks. Dana, I'll leave it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Dana Bennett, the first selectman of Griswold. I'm here along with Todd Babbitt, Griswold's Director of Public Works. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We are pleased to partner with Connecticut DOT in this infrastructure funding for a bridge that was assessed for removal a couple of years ago. And we'd like to thank Connecticut DOT and all of the members that are here tonight to provide this public information meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dana. I will now introduce the project team. Our division chief is Bart Sweeney. Our principal engineer is Derek Lassard. As I stated, I'm the project manager, Mark Burns. Also with me is James Barrows, the DOT project engineer. From the Office of Rights of Way is Zachary Garano. And then from Close Jensen and Miller, who acts as an extension of the department as our liaison, is Mike Brady, the project manager, and Jeff Fontaine, the project engineer. With that, I will give it to Jeff. Jeff, you may proceed.
All right, thank you, Mark. As Mark stated, I'm Jeff Fontaine. I work with Close Jensen and Miller, which kind of acts as an extension to the DOT as liaison for the state. And as he also mentioned, we're here to talk about the removal of Bridge 4671, which is Carroll Road over the Pachaug River in Griswold. So this is kind of a map view of where our project's located. One thing to note is that it's roughly 100 feet east of the Sheldon Road intersection with Carroll Road. And this is just kind of another view from above, just to kind of give another image of what it looks like. So the existing bridge was built back in 1938. It consists of steel beams encased in reinforced concrete, which are supported by stone masonry abutments and piers. The bridge does span a dam, which kind of separates Town Line Pond and also has a step masonry spillway downstream, as you could see in the photo just on the bottom left there. The overall length of the bridge is 87 feet, and it supports a 19-foot 8-inch curb-to-curb width, which services 530 vehicles per day. There's also a sidewalk along the south side of the bridge, which you'll see in the next slide. Oh, we're actually going to utilities. Sorry about that. We do have utilities on the south side of the road, which will require temporary relocation during construction. At this point, we're still coordinating with utility companies to determine how they would like to be relocated when we get to construction. So why are we out here for this project? Basically, the deck is rated as a 3, which is considered serious condition. As you can see in the photo below, there are several potholes and uneven pavements, which exposes the concrete deck below it. And just off of the bridge, the bituminous roadway exhibits cracks, and some of the timber rails are rotted and missing cables. The superstructure is also rated as a 3, which is serious condition. There's areas of spalls and hollow areas with exposed rebar, as you can see in the photo on the left. The steel beam bottom flanges have laminated rust, and there are longitudinal cracks with efflorescence up to the full length of the span, which you can see on the photo on the right side. The substructure, which is also rated as a 3 in serious condition, consists of deteriorated mortar, missing stones, and areas of efflorescence, as you can see in the photo. Each photo shows the abutments, and the wing walls also exhibit areas of missing stone, voids, and vegetation growing throughout. So just to kind of give a picture of what we're looking at, this is an aerial view of the bridge, which is colored in orange. A few items to note in this image are the 2 driveways on each side of the bridge, the private-owned driveways, as well as Sheldon Road being within close proximity to the project. And also that the entire bridge is within the state rights of way, which is noted in the red line on each side. So the proposed work that we plan on doing out here, as you can see, most of the orange is gone. We will be removing the deck and superstructure from the bridge and leaving the abutments and piers in place. On each side of the bridge, on the west side, we'll be removing a portion of Carroll Road and basically extending the private driveway on the left side as needed to reach Sheldon Road with a smooth enough transition. On the right side, the east side, we will be extending the roadway to accommodate parallel parking on the south side. And we will be reconstructing the pavement within that general area highlighted in yellow. Also to note, on each side of the bridge, we have protective fencing and barriers, just as a means of keeping everybody safe once the bridge is removed. So this is just kind of a view of what the bridge would look like if you were to stand directly in Pachaug River and look at the bridge. The areas in green are the existing abutments and piers, with the red being the dam. As you can see, a lot of the work is meant to not touch the existing dam. It is privately owned, and we want to make sure our project does not impact it in any way. On top of each of the piers and abutments, we will be installing concrete caps just to ensure that everything is kept in a neat and orderly fashion. So on the next slide, just again to show how the abutments and piers meet with the dam. In this image, everything in blue will be removed as part of the project, and the top portion of what's shown in green will be reconstructed with the concrete caps as shown in the previous image. Basically, we just kind of want to show that we're doing very little to impact the existing dam. During construction, we will have monitoring equipment in place to also ensure that no damage or any kind of impacts are sustained. So with the bridge being removed and during construction activities, we will basically be having a permanent detour in place. The detour is about 0.6 miles from one side of the bridge to the other and includes Sheldon Road, Route 138, and Carroll Road. So the anticipated schedule will be about 4 months from start to completed construction. We expect this to be completed during the 2024 construction season. As far as cost for the project, it is undertaken with 80% federal and 20% state funds. And we expect it to be about a little over $500,000. So at this point, I'd like to hand it over to Zach from the DOT Rights of Way Division to talk about property impacts.
Thanks, Jeff. Hello, my name is Zachary Garino, and I'm a project coordinator with the Department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights needed for transportation projects. The proposed project design requires acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of the Department's right-of-way acquisition process. Please keep in mind that the specific impacts are still being finalized and may change as the design progresses. Any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with the Connecticut General Statutes sections 13A 73 and 13A 98E. When there's federal money used in any aspect of the project, the department must adhere to the Uniform Act. You can switch the slide. Once the design has progressed to a point where we are ready to begin the acquisition process, each affected property owner will receive a formal letter of intent to acquire from the office along with the property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. At that point, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights and use that value to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner and explain the project, go over the impacts to their property, and explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable time, typically 30 days, to consider the state's offer and enter into negotiations. When an agreement is reached, the department will prepare all necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement can't be reached, in order to keep on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money that was deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner. It's important to note that the state only acquires property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the Department of the Division, the rights of way, rather, I'd be happy to address them after the presentation. So, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Zach. And thank you, Jeff. With that, that concludes the formal presentation. We will now open it up to questions and answers. Again, you can reach us through email at dot-flbp@ct.gov, by phone at 860-594-2020, or through the live Q&A in this Zoom session. And again, feel free to visit the project webpage at portal.ct.gov/DOT Griswold 0057-0121. Again, if all attendees could also fill out the survey as well, that was explained earlier, that when that survey is also available on the project webpage. All right, the first question is from a John Blanchette. The question is, have you considered repairing versus removal? Close Jensen and Miller, if you could start with this question and then we can defer to the town.
Sure. As far as the history of the project goes, we looked at many different alternatives early on, and repair was one of the considerations in what we called the rehabilitation study report. It ended up being that removal became the preferred option out here, which we presented to the town. And basically, the benefits for it, as far as like costs, impacts, and each of that, kind of we weighed those versus the repair alternatives. And as far as like impacts to the dam as well, we wanted to avoid kind of any real issues with public properties, and the public-owned dam is a big thing that needed to be considered as part of this project.
Privately owned dam, you mean, Jeff, right?
Sorry?
You mean privately owned dam?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Dana or Todd, if you'd like to add anything additional to that, feel free.
No, I'll just say that we reviewed those options, over a period of time, and I think the removal was the discussion as being the best option.
Great, thank you both for that. Next question is from Marty. How does this removal of this bridge affect fire service response? Todd, if you wouldn't mind taking that question.
Yes, we looked at the response time to get from the Sheldon Road end of the project around to the Voluntown side of the project. And that study was put together and presented to the fire chief and the fire marshal. And offhand, it was less than a minute response time difference, under 1 minute, to be detoured through Voluntown and to the Mill Road location. So it was acceptable to both the fire marshal and the fire chief.
Great, thank you, Todd.
I guess, Mark, just to add a little bit to that, as far as during construction for response times, we will be maintaining access to each of the private owned properties on both sides of the bridges as well. So in the event of any emergencies or even during construction, access will be maintained to those driveways at all times.
Great. Thank you for that addition, Jeff. Okay, thank you for these questions. If anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to either ask them in the Q&A or email or by phone. We'll be happy to answer them. All right. Question came in from Marty. Will the utility relocation work be reimbursable? Mike from Close Jensen Miller, can you please answer this question?
Sure, Mark. Under the federal local bridge program, any private utility relocations will be at the cost of the utility company themselves. We have initiated utility letters as part of the preliminary design, and we will continue coordination with them as we proceed through final design. We will be meeting out in the field with them to discuss any temporary and permanent relocations, both before and after construction is complete. And if any utilities are owned by the municipalities, those utilities are allowed to seek reimbursement for any moves that they may need to do. But in this case, I don't anticipate any municipally owned utilities to be relocated. So short answer is no for any private utilities.
Great. Thank you, Mike. We had one other question from, sorry, I'm trying to just scroll down to see it, from Janice. Could there be any provision for pedestrian traffic over the river? This is a much used walking path for local residents. I can answer this question. So when removal of the bridge was investigated, the town did approach us and requested if we could investigate some sort of pedestrian path or a bridge, some sort of pedestrian facility. And we said we would ask the Federal Highway Administration to see if that is something that could be fundable. And we presented our case, and Federal Highway said in this program that would not be eligible for federal participation. So we then presented it to the town to say, in the future, if the town would like to put some sort of pedestrian bridge, that would be down the road at their own expense. Todd or Dana, if you want to add on to that, if there's any plan long-term for pedestrian facilities.
I'm not sure, down the road, something may happen for accessibility to get from one side to the other with a pedestrian bridge. But, we had originally been told years ago that it was a possibility to be funded. And Mark, like you said, that wasn't eligible. And right now with the current budget we had, we don't have the funds to do the pedestrian bridge at this time.
Great. Thank you, Todd. Leave it open for a few more minutes for if there are any other questions that come in. We, again, thank you all for participating. If you have any other questions, you can reach us by email, by phone, or during the Zoom Q&A while the presentation is live. right, we have another question from Jerry Kiner. The driveway in the Sheldon Road would be extended to, would the driveway in the Sheldon Road be extended, to Sheldon Road? I'm not quite sure. I think, thank you, Jeff, for going to that. I believe you're referring to the driveway adjacent to Carroll Road? Or the driveway adjacent to Sheldon Road? Oh, thank you, yes, the driveway adjacent to Carroll Road. Okay, Jeff, if you could please answer that question.
Sure. So, yes, we basically will be removing the portion of Carroll Road up to pretty much where you see in the image, the brown and gray line there. So that portion of Carroll Road will be removed, and anything shown in gray would basically be maintained in the proposed condition.
And the yellow portion will be repaved or remaining in place?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeff. All right, I think with that, we're going to wrap up this meeting. Again, we appreciate all your input and we appreciate you attending. Once again, you can reach us by email or by phone, or you can reach out to the town and they can relay any questions to us too. Thank you for all those that presented and all those who were present. Thank you and have a good evening.